Welcome to SoulKiller Sunday. Initiating the podcast in 3, 2, 1.
All right. So I don't fuck up pronouncing the name again.
Dream Alazia.
Alazia. Dude, I don't know where I got... What did I say earlier? Alazia?
We've heard Alazia, Elijah, Alazia.
That's an interesting...
Dreams of Alazia.
Dreams of Azalea.
Azalea. Oh, yeah.
So many.
Cream Alazia.
Oh, that was one. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Was that at Bottom? I feel like that was at Bottom Lounge. They, something on the flyer. Maybe.
No, it was online, I think, for the tickets.
Yeah, for the
it
tickets.
Said, like,
it said Cream Alazia.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah. So that's kind of Dane from Airs and Manny. That's kind of like a running joke with him. He'll be like, Cream Alazia.
I'm just thinking about a keyboard right now. Is like D and C even like near each other on a fucking keyboard? Or is that...
Wow.
Kind of. D's up here, C's down here. I have to type
maybe it was
fingers,
a typo.
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with it was.
Yeah.
We're gonna hope it was a typo.
Yeah. It's funny though. Like it's usually a lot of people like pronounce it wrong right off the bat, and it's like it's not that we don't ever take it like personal or anything. It's just always funny seeing like the different variations of the name that people will try and pronounce it as.
My dog is currently
just
trying
chewing
to
on the
bar. Brother in Christ. Let's not do that.
Dragged right off of it.
Yeah, I was in this band years ago called Iscaria, and people would be like, Iscariot, Iscarias, Iscaria. Like, and it's just, what?
Yeah,
like, come on.
Yeah, those interesting names, with like the pronunciation can be a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So
so we have Brandon.
Yep.
Long time no see.
Yeah, long time no see.
Yes, people, this was filmed in the same day.
Yeah.
And then we have Zak.
Hello.
Vocals here. Vocals, guitar, also singing though.
Yeah, a little bit singing.
Because when we played at, I think Bottom Lounge was the first time I saw you guys when you guys played with us, and I was like, this motherfucker sings too. Like, what doesn't he do?
Thank you, I appreciate it. I gotta work on my singing. I feel like my singing used to be like better years ago, and then I don't know, I just have not been practicing or keeping up with my vocal like preparation and stuff like that. I got to get better at it, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Usually people are kind of thrown off guard when they haven't seen Dream Alazia before, and then I just get up there and start singing randomly.
I was genuinely blown away, and then I was blown away by your performance and your articulation. Like, is so good. I was just like, dude, I said it on the last one, but I was like, Dream Alazia is my favorite of the Brandon bands, and it's no knock to the other ones. They're, like, you guys are all talented. It's more of like my style of music and what I enjoy listening to.
I appreciate that. It's hard finding like big metalcore fans still these days sometimes. It really is. Yeah, and I'm like metalcore through and through. Oh, same. That's me. That's me.
Like, I'm still listening to Memphis Mayfire albums from forever ago, and like Confide and things like that. It was just like metalcore to the roots.
Yeah, that's like my origins, at least with metalcore. Like the stuff that inspired me a lot. It's like that style. So
how did the band start? Let's start there.
Yeah, so I guess originally, I'm like the only like original original member. I'd say Zak is like pretty close. Like, he's been there damn near since like the beginning of where stuff was like actually like put into motion and whatnot. So I'm trying to think like way back. This was like years ago. I had like a different lineup in the band. Tried to make it work, didn't like happen out. So after that, I had all this music that we had initially tried to record like an EP for, and that's actually where Scott came in the mix originally. We tracked the EP with him. So that's how him and I met. This didn't work out with the original lineup. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna record all the music still. I like redid some stuff that we had did before. And it was just like me and Scott in the studio, cranked it out, and I was like, man, if this could, end up being like a full band again, great. At that time, it was more just kind of like a solo thing.
Sure.
And then, I like actually wanted it to like play the stuff live and whatnot. So I'm trying to think back. It was crazy how like he came into the mix. So I had found another drummer at the time. I've been working with him. I talked to Scott, asked him if he wanted to play bass for the band. And yeah, there was another guitarist at the time, so there's 2 guitarists. And so I booked a show, and I was like, fuck it, like, let's just do it. Like, let's play a show. Like, I don't know why. It was kind of going out on like a limb there, but we booked a show like 3 weeks out, and then here comes Zach, so he could take over from this part.
So he had this show booked, and like they didn't have a vocalist yet.
I was just like, fuck it, I just want to do it.
Here we go.
Like,
And like during that time, I was because this is my first and only music endeavor that I've been a part of. Sure. Everything before that was just me going to shows and stuff like that and wanting to be a part of that. So during that time, I recorded a cover with a friend to try to put my name out there so people could see what I could do. And I was trying to join a band, made a couple of posts on like some Chicago musician pages on Facebook. And then it was a few days after I had posted that one of those, Brandon got in contact with me and sent me some of the tracks, and I was like, this is awesome, this is what I want to do. And he's like, if you want to come for audition. Went to the audition. I thought personally I butchered it. I was so nervous, but then he's just like, you got it. And he's like, by the way, we have a show in 3 weeks. I never really go on vacation or anything like that. It's very rare. And like I was going on vacation for a week in Alabama during that time. So it was like 2 weeks of actually being back here in Illinois to practice with them for the show, but we
pulled it off.
Holy shit.
It was a pretty good show. Like, we did well. He killed it for his first time ever, too. Like,
were lyrics and everything already written?
Yeah. So so when he had joined, by that time I had pretty much like tracked the whole album with Scott. Like, I had originally put vocals, or I did the vocals on the album originally, and then after he had joined, had him come in, and then I stripped some parts out of my parts in the songs and then had him do vocals over it and like some layering stuff. So he was like still included with it. And then COVID pretty much like struck after that. So I think we were just in the process of like trying to finish the mix and master. I think COVID kind of messed things up for a lot of people, obviously, especially musicians. So we just took that time. We were having issues with our old drummer, so we were just like, all right, it's time to find like somebody new. And he actually went to high school with Matt. So and I had known Matt's name around like in the scene from Capital Vices and Bind. So I knew he was already a busy guy. So I was like, well, if you want to hit him up, we can go for it. Like, why not? He's busy, but like, we'll see. And I think Zach was the one that made that contact with him, sent him stuff, and then he was like, fuck it, I'm down, let's do it. That's so awesome. We got him on board with like practicing, learning the music. He like jumped in, learned that stuff so much quicker than anybody that we had in the band previously in the drum roll. So that was nice and refreshing. That it was like, okay, like, I mean, we kind of expected to. We knew that he takes his shit pretty serious.
Yeah, he's a very talented drummer.
Yeah. So we were just super blessed that he was on board with it. He joined, and then pretty much it's been history since, just trying to rebrand as a band, like build back up. We only had the album that we released in 2021, and now we got new stuff coming out soon. So it's just been a mission. It's been a road. From that whole timeline was probably from like 2017 up until now. So it's been you guys
you've been going for it for quite a bit of
I've been trying. I've been back and forth so many times where I just wanted to like throw in the towel with it and just like not make it a live thing and just kind of write on the side. But I'm glad I didn't do that, because like meeting all these guys was
the fact that you even have bandwidth to think about writing on the side
Yeah.
is insane to me.
Yeah. This is the only band that I write for out of all the ones that I'm in.
Okay.
So this is like, I guess that's also a little bit easier on my brain that I
Sure.
have like one band to really focus like writing for. I mean, not that I'm against writing and any of my other projects. I like being the bass player too, like nothing against bass players, like they can't write the music, but I also like, I just kind of gauge like what the band is doing. Like with Errors, Tyler is like a brainiac. So it's like, it's like, there's no need for me to like contribute. I mean, if I have an idea, I'll shoot it to him or something like that. But I just know I'm fine with playing all the music for my other projects. This is the one that like I like hone in on like writing for. So yeah, it's like more of my expressive like writing creative side of music. So
and it's good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it wouldn't be a thing without these guys. I'm telling you, like, the album was pretty much like all me. I mean, Scott did a lot of production stuff with it.
Sure.
Kind of like helped fill the songs like with ideas. So it wasn't like just completely me alone with it, but the basis of like the music was me, and the lyrics. And then this new stuff is all group collaborative effort with it. So yeah.
So what is with the new album coming out?
Yeah.
When does it drop?
It drops next Friday, actually. Okay. Or this, I guess it's Sunday. So this upcoming Friday, 17th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then y'all have an EP release show?
Yep. When 24th, the week after that.
All right.
Yeah. At Rock House in West Dundee.
Oh, yeah.
Great venue. Great venue.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. It's a sick fucking venue. Like, it's
yet to go, so I'm excited.
I will definitely be there for sure. Like, I'm very excited to see you guys play on that stage. It'll be
Thank
sick.
you. We're stoked. Yeah, we like the bigger stages because the sound always pulls through for it. I mean, not that other shows it hasn't, but the bigger stages where they got the sound guy that knows what he's doing, has been around for a while. They always make us sound so nice.
More room to move around and stuff.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing. Like, that's our biggest struggle, is because like we have our rig that's on stage next to Dave. Dave's setup is pretty big. Then we have our drums, 2 guitarists, and a vocalist. And so sometimes, like, when we play X-Ray, me and Zach can't really move.
Yeah.
Like, we have to just...
Do you guys have lights too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it depends on like the show. Like, there's like an etiquette to whether or not when you can bring the lights to like when you shouldn't, or like whatever. Yeah. So like, and then on top of it, you add lights into the mix, and it's just like... Yeah.
It's a whole different like massive thing, part of your setup.
Exactly. So with the new album coming out, what was the writing process like? You said it was very collaborative. Everyone's kind of pitching in. Yeah. So like, what, tell the world about what y'all are doing.
Well, I'll talk about the music side. So after the album, because the album stuff is like super old. I don't think people realize like how old that stuff is. Like, a lot of that stuff I wrote like when I was in college. So it's like 2014 to 2016. Okay. And it didn't come out till 2021. So I have and since then I had written stuff. So I have like a whole like backlog. I had a bunch of demos just sitting around waiting. And once everybody was comfortable, like, when we were playing shows and had like the old material down, then I was going to start introducing like the newer stuff. So, I had all these demos, and then I figured obviously not do like an album again. That was just kind of like, I just wanted to get what I had at the time out. So we definitely had talked about like, all right, let's go smaller. We're going to do like an EP. So I had maybe like 7 songs or so. So we started out with like 4 of those. I had like just like the general demos of it. I needed to add the guitar parts and like some leads. Had to send that over to Matt. Matt wrote actual drums on it, not like programmed guitars, drums. So he worked on that. He also, him being a fucking brainiac, he's really good. Thing that's good about Matt is he's got a very good ear for not just drums, but like guitar, like synth, like kind of all that extra production stuff. So sending all that stuff over to him, he did the drums, but then he also was like, yo, this would be like cool as fuck if like we had this kind of like synth part in here. The song we just released, Affiliate My Anguish, was about a week old. We dropped that on the 3rd. He did some like scratching stuff on there that came out super fucking sick. So I sent that over to him. once we kind of got like the drums and guitars and like the basis of like the demo, sent it over to Zach, and then Zach did like the lyrics, and then we after that, then we sent it over to Scott once we had all of our stuff. So Matt and I really recorded guitar wise, and he did the drum stuff. He recorded Zach's vocals, and then we sent it to Scott for mixing, mastering. So,
Nice.
yeah, all DIY. And then he could tell you about the lyric part.
So like knowing that it's a lot of fun when you have those elements, especially on like the music side, right? Like everyone's contributing, everyone's kind of throwing their mix in.
Yeah.
It's even, I love when like Aaron will come in out of nowhere and be like, hey, this might be really cool on guitar or whatever it is. And Zach might tell Dave like, hey, those two are big like EDM heads, so that's why we have so much of that influence in our music. And just kind of like the way ideas bounce and move off of everyone, like musically, is super fun. Like that, it makes it a lot of fun. Yeah,
and especially when you're working together, and like there was so many times where I was sitting with Matt and we were doing guitar stuff or recording the guitars, and just be like, oh, wait a minute, go run that back. What if we like did this, or like come up with stuff on the spot? Yeah, one of the songs that's Hostage, that's like I would say that's like the bread and butter of the EP. That's like all of our like favorite song. It's the heaviest one on the EP too. That one, the ending breakdown is fucking insane, because I had like a pattern that I was playing, and and then Matt, when he was putting in the kicks, like accidentally like added extra kicks or maybe just because it was hard to hear exactly like the guitars from my demos before I tracked everything with them. And then we sat there and we were just like, wait a minute, actually, like, what if I just like played exactly like just the different kick part that you're playing for that? So we just entirely
happy accident
switched up the breakdown, and then like the breakdown at the end goes for like a hot fucking like 45 minutes, and it's not a repeating breakdown at all.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was
45 seconds.
45 seconds, not 45.
I had a feeling that's what you meant. I was like, I'm not going to interrupt that.
No,
but like, I love a good long breakdown.
Yeah,
like,
so and it just switches up. Like each time it's supposed to like repeat, it's different. So
it's funny too, because like when you get into breakdowns, you know, it's not as much of an issue anymore. But back in the day when breakdowns were starting to like become a thing, everyone's like, just zeros and ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, now these patterns are getting fucking complex. Yeah. You know, because it's like, how do you raise the bar on it?
Yeah.
And then to have a breakdown that goes that long and each piece of it is fucking different. Sometimes that's harder than playing hard riffs, because you're just like, wait, where? Fuck.
Yeah, like,
where
it's
this?
like, if it doesn't repeat, like, where do I come back in for the night? Yeah. So, so stuff like that like happened, and so that was all really cool. And then this guy over here with the lyrics just came in like a fucking monster.
So what is your like? Where did you pull inspiration from? Like, a lot of lyricists, there's a wide span of how people do their lyrics, right? It might be very like wrapped in like metaphors, or it's like storytelling, or it's just, you know, there are people who just like throw shit at a wall and see what sticks, right? So like, what's your approach to it? What did you end up writing about?
So my approach to it, this is my first time doing this, the writing process too.
Blows
so
my
like,
mind.
And like, so it's been definitely a process for me. Writing, it comes to me like at the most inconvenient times when I have ideas is when I'm driving or something like that. And like, it's so it's been like piece by piece, and a lot of going back and rewriting stuff, 'cause I'm like, that just doesn't sound good to me. Like, I can do better. But as far as writing about, it's been for this, there's more personal experiences from growing up, more just like raw emotions about family dynamics, abuse, manipulation, hard times. That's where I felt most of sorry, trying to think of how to say it in my head, but yeah, pretty much bringing bringing the negative thoughts and things I've held in for years, bring that to the surface, because for the longest time, I was kind of blind to the fact that these problems, issues were happening in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, it clicked and was like, this kind of stuff isn't cool. Like, that shouldn't be happening. Like, and I was like, bringing that to attention, at least even for myself, like, is therapeutic in a way. So
that was going to be my next question. Like, writing stuff like that, some people, it's always an interesting road to see what a lyricist or a vocalist will do with their lyrics and how that might affect them during the writing process, right? Like, some people almost kind of go down a dark hole where it's really hard to come back out of those situations and those thoughts. But I feel like what we all hope for is that it is kind of like a therapeutic outlet to where it's like, okay, my brain's processing these things and I can let this stuff out and learn whatever my new coping mechanism is and learn how to grow from those scenarios to make sure that, one, I'm okay and that I don't ever find myself in these situations again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to hear that this is more of like the therapeutic route, and I'm sure it probably brings up a lot of stuff that you're like, oh fuck, like the fact that this happened, that I went through this was really hard, and now I'm just putting this out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be freeing, but also probably a little scary too. Would you say, or
yeah, a little bit. I know I've definitely like had ideas like for things I wanted to either add to songs or even like EP titles, and I'm like, I had to kind of step back and be like, you got to remember, other people are gonna hear this, and there are people that know who you are. Yeah, I was like, there are people who know who you are, like like your family and stuff, and like you gotta be careful a little bit. So, in that way, I guess it's been a little tough, but otherwise, I'd say since putting it out from on paper, my thoughts, and then putting it into the music, it's so freeing to be up on stage and play these, like, all that anger that's been held inside gets shed out on stage. Like, all those feelings, I just like get it all out, and it feels great. Like, I'm able to, like, I don't even think about it in a way of like, how are people looking at me, or like, am I anything like that? It's just like, get it out. I don't have to worry about it. It's great. It's a good feeling.
That was one thing when we played Bottom Lounge that I noticed about like your presence. It's very, there's a real like rawness to how you perform, where you can just tell that like you're in the zone, like you're so dialed with it, and you're not like, you're really honing in on the craft of your storytelling, which I found, like, I mean, the whole band is fucking awesome, right? Like, seriously, it really is. But like, just watching your performance, some people might sit there from a distance and be like, oh, it's a pretty simple level of performance, but it's more about like, you can kind of feel that energy coming off in the way you deliver your vocal style. Like, you can feel that it's pissed, and I love that. Like, awesome. I was like back, I had a couple friends come in to that show that haven't seen me play a show in fucking forever, and we were watching you guys play, and they looked at me like, yo, these dudes are fucking sick.
Oh,
and I was like, this is my first time seeing them, and like seeing this happen, like I'm mind blown right now. It was so good.
Tell them we said thank you.
It was really good. Brian, Ralph, they said thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun being able to watch you guys, and I'm excited to see what this new EP is gonna do. Like, as far as like what I've heard from you guys and to what's gonna be coming out. Like, it sounds like it's going to be nutty.
We're trying to push the bar each time. I have a bunch of stuff in the vault. Matt's got so much stuff. So yeah, we're trying to get on the plan where we're just cranking stuff out. Like, we already, EP drops next Friday. We're already like mapping out for like the next couple months to start like tracking some new stuff. So
Nice.
we're really trying to stay like ahead of the curve and continue to build on this momentum. Really, we've had like really good responses so far. Especially for not dropping music in like years and still being relevant to people, which is cool. I think having played shows in between that times like kind of helped. I think we needed that like period to really like brand ourselves, dial in our sound, and like establish ourselves at shows and like in the music scene and kind of branch out, play bigger shows, play more local bands that we haven't played with yet. So then the music, like the response we got on Affiliate My Anguish has been like astonishing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we haven't like, and everything's like been organic. I was talking to him last night. Like we haven't paid for anything. Like we're just pushing it heavy on social media really and just continuously throwing it at people's faces. And I guess like that's working.
It's resonating.
Yeah, it's resonating.
And it's so cool like when it is purely organic, right?
Yeah, like nothing. Yeah, not crapping on bands. Like, I mean, okay, if you're out here paying to have your stuff on playlists that's getting run by streams, you're kind of like a bitch for that. Sorry, but I mean, ad spend is also good because as long as you're getting like legitimate people and you're getting pushed to the crowd that's actually going to listen to your music, that's a good tool. So nothing against like ad spend. It's just nice, like, damn, we didn't put a dime into it. Yeah, and it's just like, we're getting thousands of streams within like a week on a single for not dropping anything in years. And I just feel very fortunate and grateful about it. Like, so
what is the approach like that you guys have as far as like pushing out your music? I know you were saying that like, you know, we're just throwing this in, you know, everyone's face. Like, do you find a better platform works for you guys better than another one? Or are you guys just like, fuck it, just post the content, whatever happens, happens?
Facebook is so hard to try and crack into. I mean, some people...
impossible almost.
It works for some people. With us, we literally, like, if you checked our group chat, we're just like, all right, should we try posting at 9 today? Or like 11? Or no, we should post later. Like, we try to crack Facebook's algorithm, and it's so difficult, but we'll get random times where we'll, like, throw up our live video from a set and it's like 11 o'clock at night and it gets like 30 likes or something. It's just like, where is this during the day when we're posting like other stuff? But I'm not, you know, whatever. It's so we just like going forward with that. I guess TikTok is like really good. We're trying to establish ourselves on TikTok. Instagram has done pretty well. Like, especially it's nice having that like invite collaboration that you can do with like all the, so we'll like put up a post and then invite collab like all the bands, so then it gets, you know, kind of gets like a bigger reach. So that's something I recommend people doing if they don't do that. Anytime your band like releases anything that's like big that you would all share yourselves anyway, just do a collaboration post on IG and it should hopefully get a lot more traction to it. It's just really been that. That's something that Scott and Matt have been talking about because I know Scott with Dems, they're very heavy with the social media. So that's something he's kind of been pushing us to do more with. And like sometimes for me, I'm like that guy who's like, oh, I don't want to be annoying. But at the same time, too, it's just like you got to do it because like even if, you know, Scott said it best, even if it's like one new person a day or each time you posted, like that's at least one new fan.
That's honestly, that's such a big thing. Like, Zach has really pushed us on like the social media aspect because he understands. He's been in the game for like probably most recent as far as like the rest of us, right? As like in a local band and whatnot. And he has really pushed us into the social media route. And of course, we finally start gaining traction on TikTok right as they're about to pull it down.
Right. We just started ours too.
Right. And but like the cool thing about it is exactly what Scott's saying is like, all it takes is that one person to be like, new fan, I'm listening to you guys. And it's like, it's kind of like my mindset with like shows. I'll play obviously in front of a crowd of thousands of people. I will also play just as hard and just as well as I can in front of a crowd of 3 people. Like I don't give a shit, you know? And sometimes that aspect of like having a smaller audience is more of a guarantee those people are going to become fans of you now, you know? So it is a really interesting thing with how social media works and like how things just kind of like slowly trickle out. And then one day it's just,
it's the long road with it. You have to be consistent and do it over an extended period of time. And then it triggers something. So Yeah, it's hard though. Yeah. So, but I would say, yeah, like I said, some people have good luck, or not luck, but like good algorithm strike with Facebook. We're still trying to navigate that one, but
It's a
IG and
tough one.
TikTok like are
It's
usually
a tough one. We found so me and Dave way back in the day, we were in a band called Drifters together, and we would throw some money into like Facebook ads to see kind of like what would happen. We actually found that we were getting likes and views from bots was what we were finding, and we're like, wait a minute, we're paying for this, and these accounts are from God only knows where, and there's nothing on it. Like what? And I feel like it's one of those things like when you go into like the ad manager, Facebook's like, you know, you're going to get 500 to 1,000 impressions on this, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like right when it gets down to the wire, they're like, and send the bots. Yeah. It's just like, we hit your guarantee. It's like, no, fuck you guys. It did nothing for me.
No, yeah. You'll put in like, I don't know how much money they expect for you to put in before they actually give it to actual relevant people and actual people. But I hate Facebook.
Yeah, it's a tough market. I've taken like a handful of like social media classes for like my wedding business and like video business and stuff like that, and they're actually suggesting you have people that are making well into six figures, and they're saying you need to reinvest 10% back into ads every year, and it's like, could you imagine if you're making if your company's bringing in $250,000 and then taxes this, that, the other, but you're still doing 25 grand in that. But that's also a market where the money, it kind of pays for itself, where if like even if you threw 25 grand into the band, it's like
you should get that back with like your products.
Right. And it's like, and that's the gamble that we take with it, right? We're going to invest $1,000 into marketing. We only might see $100 maybe come back. It's like it's like, how do you justify it properly? And you got to just crack the code.
Crack the code.
It's fucking crazy.
Crack the fucking code.
It's rigged. It honestly is.
Yeah.
But luckily, Instagram, I do feel like plays better with musicians.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Obviously TikTok, and with TikTok going away now, there's Lemonade. So hopefully that.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's literally TikTok.
Is it?
It's
Okay.
a Lemonade powered by TikTok.
Oh.
And it was like their solution to like, okay, cool, US is going to shut us down here, so we're just going to create this other app, buy it out, and it still ran. It's basically TikTok. Yeah. It's a little bit of a different platform, but okay. So hop on that.
I was just saying, I'm going to throw that in my back pocket. Good to know. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't even talked about what we're going to do once I get shut down.
I'm so out of the loop of things. I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah, we were riding the Facebook and IG game for so long. And then, and then we were just like, all right, well, we should make a TikTok. It's kind of like,
all right, it's another one.
So, but it's nice that we have Matt's like running our TikTok. So
nice.
Yeah. So we kind of spread out the stuff. Like, long story short, our Facebook and our IG aren't like connected with the band. So that was like something that's been going on for years. So anytime we post, it's like have to post to Facebook and then post to IG.
Same problem.
But what is nice is like it's like, hey, I only got time to make one quick post. Can you do the IG post? I'll just copy and paste what you make and just throw it on. Yeah. Or vice versa with Facebook. So
yeah, we definitely have to do that shit too. And it's just like,
it's
always at the most inconvenient times. It's just like, hey, we got to get this out today at this time. It's just like, damn it, I just got home. I've been working all day. I don't want to look at my phone. Like
then you got to sit there and post and promote. Yeah.
It's so weird how, there's been that meme floating around a lot. That's like, I just wanted to play music, but instead I became a social media influencer.
Literally.
It's like,
that's 50% of it.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
That's 50%
Seriously,
of it.
It really is. Yep. So going back to like your guys' music and the band itself, do you guys have any like traditions before shows or like ritual type things? Like I know like for us, like Sean will most shows, as long as he remembers to bring one, most shows like Sean's like, I'm gonna throw an incense up on stage.
I've seen
just
that,
clear the air out, like create a new space, like whatever. Do you guys have anything like in that realm?
Think
or
so.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, we kind of just all like before sets we're kind of all just like joking around, like laughing, like kicking the shit, and then we go up there and like give a quick little fist bump. But we kind of just.
I guess we got to make one.
Yeah, we got to now.
Figure out one.
Yeah, we just individually just like kind of lock in like right before a set. But we don't have anything like major that we do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe in the future you might see some goofy shit on the side.
Dude, it's kind of fun too, because like whatever's going on, like sometimes, you know, before a show there's a lot of tension, there's like stress, you know, people are a little stressed out, and then like for us, like, you know, we kind of have like a little huddle, and it's just like, let's go up there and like do our shit, like let's kick ass, whatever happens, leave it on the stage and move past it, you know. And that's a really nice thing for us, because it helps us kind of like get into, especially with our look, into like character mode, you know. But that's just been something that's been good for me. So I don't know how many other bands do like weird things or like, you know, whatever.
I know in Dutch we do like a little group powwow like right before we play. Errors, we don't really have anything La Paz.
So I guess it's just hit or miss. It's just hit or miss.
But I could see it though. That's just funny because you guys wear like the mask, and it's like you got to get in the character. That's why it resonates so much with Dutch, is because that's exactly what
it was. The worst idea I've ever had, because like image wise on stage it looks great and it pays off. But like we're usually prepping like a band and a half before we go up, and it's like, dude, we're missing like half the sets right now, like because we gotta do our face and change and whatever it is. So we're working on ways to make that a little faster right now.
But I mean the preset ritual is always like, not like your own ritual, but like individually, like how you get into the zone for it. Like it's
y'all should do a shot of Malort right before you guys go up.
Oh no,
that would go terrible.
I cannot do that.
That would go terrible.
I don't really drink alcohol at all.
Fair enough.
Let alone fucking Malort.
Big connoisseur.
Yeah, literally like I'm such a lightweight, one light beer and I'm feeling buzzed.
I'm the same way though.
I'm like, then anything after like 3 beers would be my max, and there's still like a 75% chance that I'm gonna wake up with a hangover. Like also I get the spins really bad too, so it's
the
like
worst part.
Malort will do
damage. I don't understand how some bands can just slam beers before they go up and crush a set. I would be a mess.
I had to stop doing that, only because like I wouldn't go up there and be like a mess, but like my hands cramp. Like when that's how I know when I've had too many drinks before the set started, is because like once I'm like 2 songs in and my hands start getting like tight, I'm just like, oh fuck, my body's dehydrating quicker. So I there has been times where I've got, you know.
I don't. It's impressive. I don't know how you guys do
I've had
that.
to tone back.
Like,
I tried to take like my live performance like a bit more. Not that I didn't before, but like the show preparation, just making sure I like get through the set without like feeling by the end of it like I'm struggling. You know.
It's kind of like one of the like I personally I prefer playing earlier, because it's like, cool, we did what we had to do, and now we can hang out and play and just whatever, you know. Where it's like if you're on a headliner, you're like,
you gotta pace yourself the whole night. You want to start drinking early, but then you can't, because you're gonna screw yourself over later.
Absolutely.
No.
Do you guys what is like a practice routine for you guys? You guys practice weekly, on your own? Like what is that like?
So we were on a pretty good like once a week, every other week schedule, but like especially with the holidays and like stuff pops up throughout the year. We usually try and like get like a practice or 2 in if we have like an upcoming show. So I know we're gonna get together this week or next week. I forgot which one. I don't think we've like scheduled yet. He's trying to escape over there.
Yeah, dude, brother. He's like eating the foam off the door.
Yeah, we should though. But I know we like all like practice a lot on our own. I know I'm hammering this stuff. I need to practice more than I am. But yeah, we kind of all do.
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you gotta take one day at a time with it. But yeah, I feel like we all do a good job of making sure we're like doing our stuff when we're not together.
So I know you were saying like as far as like guitar, bass, things like that, you're probably practicing a ton.
Yeah.
And I know you're saying with like vocals, you could probably do more.
Definitely.
What is for either one of you guys, or both of you guys rather? Look at him, he's going crazy right now.
Hello.
He's so cute.
for both of you guys, what is like your methods for not practicing with the band, but like yourselves? Like what are you doing on your own to like better your vocals and things like that?
Yeah, you start.
Me, I live in an apartment, so my only choice pretty much since I've started doing music is the car.
Sure, yeah.
He's a car vocalist.
Yeah, so, it's, I'm sure there's a lot of people that when I'm driving, they're like, what the fuck is that guy doing in his car? They're probably like, I feel bad for whoever he's talking to, thinking I have like a Bluetooth headset on
just
or something.
arguing.
That's usually when the best opportunity for me, especially on my drive like home, if I'm feeling pumped up, like sometimes after working 9 hours, I'm just like, not one of those days. But if I'm feeling good, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna practice, and I'll just either play on some random stuff on Spotify or play some of our tracks that I know we're gonna be doing for the show, and just try to make sure my stamina and endurance is up and everything.
That's a big thing, and especially too, like, vocals back in the day with like metalcore and stuff were a little more like, what's the word? You look at like a band like August Burns Red, right?
Yeah.
And their delivery back in the day was very like dot 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 dot. There wasn't a whole lot of like change and like variation. It all kind of, and a lot of metalcore bands kind of all had a very similar sound. Now shit's getting faster. Yeah. There's a lot more technique going into it. There's a lot more, you have a lot of diversity in like melodies and things like that. So where do you guys take your inspiration from? Like, what bands are you listening to where you're like, those are things that I need to be doing or want to be doing? Where do you guys draw that inspiration?
I guess for me, just like vocally or just like music? Just
vocally. I guess for you, right now we'll do vocally and then we can pop back into musically.
I guess vocally for like, because I do some like rough vocals. I don't know, like heavy, like, I mean, I like vocal style wise, I guess like Gideon would be like one. They're like one of my all-time favorite bands. When it comes to like flow and like lyricism, definitely them, but also like Wage War too. Like,
so good.
Yeah. When it comes to like cleans and melodies and stuff like that, I would say like Marcus from like Invent Animate. Or even Cody from Wage War too. Like that kind of style. I think it's hard because my background was like, I started off with like choir, like singing and stuff like that. So transitioning
so
from,
you're a purist.
I try. Yeah. So I guess it really started because I like, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with like Les Mis, like the Broadway play. So I would just like replicate like hearing them sing and try and like reproduce like vocals. So I think that's where I started to like learn how to navigate around like my pitch and stuff. And then I did choir in middle school and like school plays. Then transferring from that into like metal singing, it's like totally different. Yeah. So listening. So it's pretty much the same thing. Like all my favorite bands that had like clean vocals in it, I would just practice trying to replicate exactly like the notes that they're hitting, the melodies. And then once I got that, I'd fuck around and like do like my own like little harmonies, and all of this also being in the car while I'll be driving to or from work. I would say that stuff. My range isn't like crazy. But I still try and push myself to like see what I can hit. So I can at least know what's within my range. So like when we're writing music, I can know what.
Stay in the pocket
and not try and do anything like too wild.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I guess that's mine. What about you?
What about you?
I'd say my two biggest influences would be Knocked Loose and Victims.
Okay.
I really like the flow of both of theirs, and Brian Garris from Knocked Loose, like his style inspired me like to, I guess, just have that more. No, this is my one. You already took my other one. Thank you though.
He's trying to do it again.
He's like,
it's like, but the water.
I just really like his vocal style, and like how it's what's the word, like how
it's like
it has that raw, and it has even like that like kind of like slight whine to it, but like in the best way. Yeah. And it's like it just makes it sound.
Let me see if Aaron's
So-
back here really quick.
Oh, of course.
Let me see if I can pop him out here. Hell yeah.
See you, buddy.
Fired.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh
there.
no, you're good. But yeah, just I feel like that kind of vocal style just to me it's a lot more interesting. Gives it more depth and like there's just way more to go with it than voice that just almost seems monotone and screaming.
Sure.
I guess like
Yeah,
there's
having, like,
more
range.
variation.
Yeah, he's got a very interesting style with what he does, and like for me, like personally, it's not my favorite, but I can respect the fuck out of what he's doing because like as soon as you hear him say one word, you're like, knock loose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you just
You
know
like it's
it,
a very distinguishable like vocal.
Yeah.
Like I'd say John too from Victims. He's
John,
very raw and
he's-
aggressive
yes.
too. Like
Insane.
the videos I've seen like where they like behind the scenes stuff where he's like tracking vocals in the studio, like hearing his raw vocals is just like, oh my god, he's belting that shit.
Yeah.
Like belting it. But it sounds good. He sounds very in control with it too. Same thing with
Very.
Yeah,
Brian, so-
you have really good control over what you're doing. Like that is
Oh, thank you.
that is something that like especially with essentially crash landing into a band.
Yeah, literally.
And being like, okay, now I'm a full-time vocalist.
Yeah.
To have that kind of control. Obviously, you've been practicing and doing your own thing on your own, but to learn that on your own and then be able to implement it like this and be able to pull that off live with the control that you have, that's a natural talent that a lot of people have to work really hard toward to get that right.
Oh,
You know,
thank
so
you.
I think,
really
you know,
appreciate that.
your tone and your control it fits the music so well. Like it really does.
Does.
So
That's why I
you.
tell you, like he said he thought he butchered his like audition. Like I knew right then and there. I was
you're
like,
let's go.
yeah, I was like, I know this is like too, especially being like young and not being in a band before, like having like full experience. Like I'm all for like if you see like potential, like ride with it. Like you know what I mean? Like you can. Not everything's gonna be perfect. Like like I'm not the same musician I was when we had first met. So it's like that upward progress, and he's just like continued to just blow my mind every single time. Like I'm still texting him. We've had these fucking songs like recorded, done, mixed and mastered, and in DistroKid for like a while. And like literally last week, I texted him for like the third time. I was like, dude, what you did on these fucking vocals, it literally was so
It's
fucking
so good.
like I'm just mind blown. Like he really like really put his all into it. Like, and that's that's all you could really ask for like a bandmate. You just want somebody that's going to be there and put their all into it. And he's just stayed consistent the entire time. It's just continued to get better, like live, in the studio, just in general with his vocals. And so that's what makes the band work, really. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
So.
Do you guys have a plan for after this EP comes out? Do you guys have like a release plan that you want to do moving forward? Like, are you trying to drop? I know you were saying that like, we're going to hit back in the studio and start tracking again. After that, are you planning on doing like another EP, or are you just going to start just blasting singles out?
Yeah, so we're kind of in between it. Like I know the plan that we have now is like I said, Matt's got a lot of music that he's like written fully and whatnot. So we talked about incorporating those as like singles in between like the bigger releases. So like singles here and there in between the EPs as well too. I can't give too much details, but like we're in talk with another band about trying to do a split EP. So
sick.
That's something we're looking forward to doing and working on. So yeah, it'll be singles and EPs. I highly doubt we write like another like full length, but like I know that's just kind of how the market is. Like everybody likes the shorter stuff. Like they just want a song or a few songs collected, and unless you're like some big ass band that like no matter when you do it, and all your fans are gonna listen to a whole ass album from you. But
I'm definitely an album lover, and
I am too. I like hearing from start to finish, like because it's usually like there's some
concept.
sort of like
there's
concept.
some story. Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
and that's like a big thing. Like one of the craziest albums for me was Sleep Talk by Dayseeker, because the way that album moves, it's like watching a movie.
Yeah.
It's just so engaging the entire time, so it's like it's cool to see that people are like just feed us the music, because it gives all the music and all the songs that you're dropping an opportunity to all be heard, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a really cool factor of it. But you kind of lose out on that like theatrical side of things where it's like, hey, listen to this entire thing we wrapped up.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can go back. I know that there's like the waterfall thing that you can do where you can just like drop all of it and then later on pull it all back into a full length or an EP or whatever it is later on Spotify. But it still kind of loses the appeal, because once that's done, it's everyone's like, yeah, I've heard this a bunch. Like it kind of loses that like
it makes you like the drive to go back and listen to it again and like find stuff that you didn't get the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see like how things continue to progress. You know, I'm interested to see like how that kind of new method of just dropping works with local bands versus like, I mean, you have the Plot and You who just drop single, smash through together, single, like, is that going to work for us on a local level or on a smaller level, you know?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, unless I would never discourage anybody from doing whatever they wanted to do. But like, I would usually encourage like on the smaller level, like local bands, like singles and like EP, like smaller works. But if you have something like I got this full work, all these songs work well together, like there's a whole concept behind it, fuck it, who gives a shit? Like, do your thing. You know what I mean? So. And
I think too, also going the EP route and single route also does allow you to just really dial in the songs to where there's no waste or just like, we need one more song, so we threw this one in there.
So we just
like,
threw this one
filler.
as like a filler. Yeah. So I know at least moving forward, we're all trying to like have everything we release, like whether it's a single or like EP, like everything like solid and matches together. So it's funny enough, we talked about like not doing an album, but like we're like this EP is like little spoiler, but it's kind of like a 2-part thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't throw out all the Easter eggs with it, but
okay.
Essentially, it's supposed to be like a 2-part. So what we're dropping now is like one part of like a 2-part like piece.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And so it'll, probably after we get the second one out, it'll all come together and like kind of make sense. But there's like a theme behind it. But that's also a way that can work too. If you have a shit ton of stuff and you're just like, I don't want to drop like a full album, like break it up. If there's some songs that like are grouped well together, you could still get your concept through. Just like make it like a 2-part. I think local band Scytherism. I don't know if you've heard of them. I'm pretty sure they did that last year with the songs that they released. It was like a 2-part, and it ended up being like one conjoined album, but they separated into 2 EPs and then brought it together at the end.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's really cool guys too, by the way. Scytherism, they're sick.
I'll have to check them out. Yeah. And it's cool too that they did that, and you guys are kind of talking about doing this too, because it's like when you look at it from a perspective of like selling physical copies, if you guys go down that route, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool. We have our Spotify thing. Everyone's heard the first half, and now we're hearing the second half, and now we can do a vinyl. Yeah. Where it's like side A is one half and the other side is the other half. So it's like, that's a really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. That's a good idea. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I'll take 10% for the idea.
Yeah. That would be a perfect idea for what we're like going for too. So maybe vinyls in the future after we get the second part out.
That would be sick.
Vinyl is like one of those things where like I enjoy it so much because you're forced to just sit and listen.
Yeah.
That's like the coolest thing. And that was like something big back in the day. It was like, oh, cool, we have like comedy on vinyl, or we have these songs on vinyl. And if you wanted to sit there and listen to music, you just had to prop up next to it and just sit and listen, you know, or crank it and clean the house, you know, like whatever it is. That's what I really love about vinyl, where like Spotify is cool because you can take it on the go and you can just, it's just on, it's in the background, but you can't sit and digest it the way you can with vinyl.
Yeah. And the way it comes through is totally different too.
Oh,
than you hear digitally. So or through like streaming sites or on your phone and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you guys have outside of this show coming up? Are you guys looking at other shows coming down the line?
Yeah.
Like, what else is in the works?
Yeah, we have February 1st. We're playing Grimm's album release show.
Sick.
Just going to be super sick.
Bottom Lounge, right?
Yeah, Bottom Lounge. That's with Stolen Sun, Stories Through Storms. Vacant Voice, who we love Vacant Voice. Those are our boys.
Okay.
Vacant Voice is on that.
Dems too, right?
Dems Fighting Words. Yep. I was like, I know I'm missing one. So yeah, pretty.
That's a big lineup.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good lineup.
It's going to be a pretty stacked show. So yeah, we got that February 1st, like shortly after our EP release. And then do we have anything else February?
I don't think so, because we just played recently, right? Like I'm blanking.
Yeah,
like
no,
a
I'm
couple
trying to
weeks
think.
ago or something.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because I think we had 3 shows.
Three shows, yeah.
so-
We just had
yeah.
one at X-Ray Arcade on the 3rd.
And
Yeah,
then the EP, both EP shows, and then I think that's
Yep.
all we have for now. It's just those.
yeah. I think we're gonna probably take like March and towards the end of February to like I said, start working on the new
Sure.
stuff. Yeah, I've already been talking to Matt and trying to plan out getting together to do that. So
Nice. Do you guys try to stick within like a certain like, we only want to play a show? Like I know for you especially, like you have so many bands that you're in right now, so I'm sure it makes it a little complicated. But
Yeah.
like just for Dream, do you guys try to stick within like, okay, we only want to play a show like once a month, twice a month, or are you guys like down to just take whatever comes in and rip it?
yeah, so it's kind of a combo. I think we're gonna start getting to probably like slow it down a little bit. Like I said, we really want to hammer on like new music and kind of get ahead of that curve. Like we played so many shows like over the last couple of years with so many bands too. So we also don't want to like be redundant. You know what
Sure.
I mean? Like always playing with the same bands or seeming like, all right, we're playing like 2 to 3 shows in a month. So
Yeah.
I think spacing it out would be better. That's always good for like, bringing what's the word for it? Bringing a need to see you, I
Sure.
guess, because you haven't
Yeah.
played as much. I don't think that's the right word, but you get what
No,
I'm saying.
that's definitely.
Yeah, so do that. But like I said, the out of state shows, like if it lines up with our schedules, we're like pretty open for like any out of state shows, just so we can kind of branch out with that. But yeah, locally, I guess it just kind of depends on when it is the show. We also try to like always throw our name in the hat for like bigger stuff. I think the biggest show we got to play was Monuments. Wasn't last year. I think it was the year before that. That was at
sick.
Reggie's, which was incredible. So we really want to try and like tap into shows like that too.
Yeah.
I know it's a competitive market too.
Very.
There's so many Illinois bands, and so and I know like the same people aren't always going to get the same opportunity.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we still try and throw it out there and see if we can get it, or get that off chance so we can get on another bigger show. So I think that's what we're trying to shoot for, is like the bigger stuff. But if it's like a local bill and we haven't played with the bands like recently or before, we'll probably have that. If it's a show where we played with majority of the bands like quite a bit, then we might be like, all right, we'll pass, or maybe like, let's set this up for a later time. So it's not like, hey, we just all saw each other,
and that's something that like we really try to do, is like we really try to find different bands to play with, because even from like an audience perspective, it's just like, oh, I've seen 3 of these bands already. Like
you don't want the
week.
same shows going on, because you're not going to draw people like playing the same. If it's even hard. Like I said, not even I say that, and we still are book shows with bands that we played before, but we try not to make it more than like one other band that we played before, unless it's like something that, like we're doing Bottom Lounge, where we're not the ones like setting it up, but it's like a bigger show. Like we play with every single band on the bill at Bottom Lounge, like as I'm saying all this, but it's been a while besides like Vacant Voice. Like by the time we play February, we haven't seen them since like November. So it is spaced out a little bit. Stories Through Storms, we haven't played with them in like months. So just doing that, but we're definitely keeping that in the back of our minds more, like going to this year and like moving forward.
It's also tough. Like I know we talked about it with the Pride Metal Fest podcast. It's also, there are so many bands, but then it's also like, how the hell am I how do I find these bands? Like I know there's a bunch of you out there, but I can't find any of you. Like where is everyone? What is your, like, if you guys are booking a show, what is your method to finding those different bands?
I guess like just like doing like research. So I kind of creep on, I don't want to say creep, that sounds so weird.
Creepy.
But I kind of do. I kind of creep on. So what I do is like, especially if I'm putting together a show and I need to find like a newer band or different band, like I'll go on like other bands like IG pages and I'll look through who they follow or who follows them, or I'll look through their show flyers. And I was like, oh, I've never heard that band before. Click on them, find their profile. check them out, listen to their music, and if it's a fit, great. Or, you know, if we want to set something up, like, I think that's a good way to do it. You got to do your research, like, really. I mean, because like I said, there's still bands that I'm just finding out about. There's like a whole hardcore punk scene of like Illinois and Chicago that I've like not even like interacted with or met or talked to any of those bands or even like heard of them. And I'm like becoming friends with people on like IG, and I'm seeing that they're in this band. I'm like, what the fuck? They're from Illinois? Like, I've never heard of this band, but there's so many, and there's so many different like sub-genre scenes. So you just got to do the research. You got to look at who follows who, check band flyers. Like you'll always find somebody that you haven't heard of before. So
do you guys find yourselves more reaching out to book your own shows, or are like shows just being offered more or less? Because I know like back in the day, like
it's kind of a mix. Yeah,
back in the day, like we didn't really like, and I'm saying like 2008, 9, 10, that like region. It wasn't really a thing where you would book your own show. It was just like a promoter would send you an email if they had your contact, and they're like, hey, we have the show, do you want it? And I feel like now there's a lot of, and it's kind of cool because there's a lot of responsibility on the bands to, hey, you want to play a show? Cool. Put it together. Like, here, we're going to give you the venue. You put it together. Yeah.
And it's doable. Like I said, I know it sounds like super intimidating, but the way I learned was just going into it and doing it. Like you gotta, like I feel like it's kind of a mixture with us. We have bands that reach out to us about playing a show. Then there's some times where it's like, oh, this show is coming up. Like I want to, like I said, put our name in the hat to see if we can get an opener spot. Or like, like our EP release show, obviously we set that one up, just had to find the venue, find the promoter that books there, or like talk to the venue owner directly. It's kind of like a blend of stuff, really.
Yeah. I was telling the guys that like this year, because we want to increase the amount of shows that we're playing, I was actually telling them that like I want to open more shows.
Yeah.
And they were like, why? And it was kind of, you know, we had talked about this earlier, is just more of like, even if there's only a handful of people in the room, you still throw on that insane show. It's like the guarantee of at least half of that room being like subscribed. Yeah. You know, it's like,
and usually I think it's like psychologically people usually remember something in the beginning and then at the end.
Something at the end.
Yeah. Always the beginning and the end. You know, it's kind of hard. I mean, you can remember stuff in the middle, but like usually the beginning and the end, like if they stand out, whether either being good or bad, but that's gonna really stick. So.
Backpedaling a little bit, I know we talked about vocal influences, musical influences. Yeah. Where are you guys at?
I have so many. Pretty much the ones I named, like Invent Animate, Wage War, Gideon's like a big one of mine. I'm trying to think. I mean, I've always been a Linkin Park fan. That's kind of like where my roots like came from.
You like the new stuff?
I do. I'm like it's an adjustment. Like it's definitely an adjustment. Like it's not bad. I could see what they're going for. I just miss
Chester.
Hybrid Theory. I miss Chester. I miss Meteora.
Hybrid Theory and Meteora.
Like I just, if they would come back with that like full swing, I would fall in love all over again with that band. But so many. I like. Yeah, I'm kind of like all over the place. That's why I try and blend that like in the music. Like obviously I'm a big metalcore guy, but playing like heavier stuff, like I do like hardcore beat down. So trying to incorporate that in there, like the new metal stuff, obviously. So but mainly like metalcore bands, the Ghost Inside too. Like I'm trying to think of all the bands I have tatted on my arm.
Which ones do I have?
Deftones. Like, pretty like, I like a blend of like pretty much
all the subgenres
and like their best bands pretty much I'm a fan of.
I love that.
Yeah.
Zach, what about you?
Oh, sorry. What
He's just like, damn, dude. He's just listing off so many bands right now.
Well, like also too, like as far as musical influence, I don't play any other instruments, so I guess
true.
Like
that's true.
So yeah, that threw me off. But if you're so, I guess
if you were to look at what Dream Alazia is doing, I said it right that time.
Yep.
If you were to look at what you guys are doing and like where you would love to see musical direction and influence taken from, what would some of those bands be?
Oh, okay. Tough.
I know, there's so many good ones to pick from.
Yeah, shit.
That puts the pressure on me because I gotta write stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's why I'm like, I almost
He's
don't
like,
even
Lorna Shore for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say Knocked Loose, obviously. I really like Veil Maya. They're a big one for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also another band I feel like I've been listening a lot. I don't think they've come out with new stuff recently, but Hawk. I really like Hawk.
Oh my God!
I have never.
Is that
heard of them.
OG? This or the Apocalypse?
No,
are we thinking about
it's the guitarist from Ice Nine Kills, Ricky.
Yes,
That's
so Hawk.
They're so fucking.
Do you remember This or the Apocalypse? Sorry, I love
vaguely.
dude, I love hearing about bands that like not too many people listen to, but they fucking were so killer. So Hawk is amazing. So the guitarist of Ice Nine Kills was a vocalist of this band called This or the Apocalypse from like way fucking back in the day.
Yeah.
Probably were like way ahead of their time. Like they killed it, but like if they were a band like now it would crazy. So that's why Hawk is like trying to come back with doing that. But yeah, Hawk is incredible.
Okay.
Like very progressive metalcore, but also like
his
heavy
voice too,
and his
like-
vocals. Like he's
His
just
vocals are insane.
just very raw. Like he'll be sitting there screaming, then he'll be like talking for like a line, and then he'll go back to screaming, and then kind of like in between. Like what he does with his vocals is incredible.
No boundaries.
Yeah, sorry, when you said Hawk, I got
No,
so fucking
that's
You're
awesome.
like,
No, I'm
it's like,
glad. No, I'm glad. Okay, so that was a good answer. Then.
The
That's
excitement
good.
that you both just had over it, like I'm definitely gonna go listen to that.
this is why we click, because we like the same music too.
I love that.
Yeah.
It definitely helps when there's a lot of similarity in like genre and bands and things like that. And then on the opposite side of it too, you also have people in your bands that listen to a totally different genre where you're like, I would have never thought to listen to this, or never thought you did listen to this. You know, like I know Sean listens to like a lot of indie music, you know, Dave and Zach, a lot of EDM and whatnot, you know, so, and me, I'm just like, metalcore. Yeah, that's all I got.
And it blends into, I would say Matt's a big like EDM. He likes EDM. Like I said, he's with the whole synth production stuff on our new stuff. He went crazy with that. I know Silent Planet too. He's a big fan of Silent Planet.
They're so good.
Invent Animate. He's a big Bill Murray fan too.
Yes.
Like fucking loves Bill Murray. So
yes, I bet him and Zach could talk about Bill Murray.
Oh, I'm sure they could. Yeah, and like he's always trying to throw that like spicy melodic stuff like in the groove, especially with like the stuff that he's made on his own too. So yeah, Bill Murray for sure. Scott is like he's like the chromatic, like down tempo, like kind of progressive. Like he what is it like, especially like with the stuff that he's written in the past, it's kind of like the OG like Chicago metal sound, you know what I mean? Like The Barrier, like Sworn In, Youth Forever, like he writes that stuff so well. Like some of the riffs that man has come up with that I've had to learn how to play for La Peste, I'm like, God, how whose fucking mind would like think of something like that?
Sometimes you just have those people who are just like, how does your brain work? Like,
what's good about Scott too is he could also fucking write whatever. Like
he's another machine. Like he's
he
another one who's just like
whatever.
All the subgenres. I play them. Yeah.
And he's like, I know he's like had a lot of I don't want to say influence, but like some like writing influences on the people that he's like recorded with. So like you can kind of hear like his flavor and what he brings. Like he's really good at like hearing a part that you can kind of switch a little bit or alter like how like the riff comes in or how you can like transpose it through. So that's always a good thing with the album. When him and I were working on that, he was doing that stuff all the time with it. So he's another guy that's got a really good ear too.
So I know you guys had a music video drop recently, which I really liked.
Labyrinth,
I really liked it. And like music, great, but also the production value of it. I loved the color saturation and the pop of it. You know, it just like really hit. And it's one of those things you see a lot of you see a lot of music videos now, and I know it's like budget constraints and things like that, that they don't really, there's not a lot of attention into location, lighting. It's just like, let's just rip this and get this done, put it out.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that you guys took the time to like dial that in. Who did you guys work with? What was the process like?
Yeah,
like
our boy Joe Gibbs, man. Shout out Joe Gibbs. I hope he sees this. We fucking love you. I found out about Joe because Joe actually shot 2 videos for Errors for the EP that came out. So I already had his contact, and it was like an absolute pleasure working with him. He's super nice. Like, he's really good at what he does. He's timely with stuff. Like, he's willing to work with whatever and accommodate to you. So I already had him in my mind for after we shot the music videos with Errors. And so we had talked about it. We were kind of going back and forth on like which songs you wanted to shoot the videos for.
It's the hardest part.
And Nick's one of his one of his former bosses, we were talking about him a little bit earlier, the one that wanted to do like the like the rental facilities for bands if that ends up happening. But he owns one of his other businesses that he owns is it's a place called Midnight Terror. It's in where is it? It's like south suburbs. I'll have to look it up. I'm gonna look it up. But Midnight Terror, if you Google it, you'll be able to find it.
Is it like a haunted house?
Yeah, so it's like it's a haunted house in like October and like the fall season. Outside of that, on its regular schedule outside of that season, it's a laser tag place. But it's
shit.
Yeah, but it's like they have it still set up kind of like, so it's like a combo of like, it looks like a haunted house, but also a laser tag like maze.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so he was like, he had told us before, he's like, if you guys ever need like a location, I got a few spots. I can talk to some people, or you want to come shoot here. You can do that. And I'm like, well, yeah, how much? He's like, nah, free of charge. So yeah, he just hooked us up.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, we got like, I don't know if it would be free of charge for other people, but he hooked us up with that.
It is one of those things where it's like sometimes like luck just hits on those those like little moments. You're just like, oh, thank you.
And it was such an experience too. So because we did a midnight. We did like almost an overnight.
So it was overnight. Yeah,
it was overnight.
Finished at like 3
in the morning.
Something.
Yeah.
What time did you guys start?
Start at like 11, like midnight-ish.
That's pretty quick though.
Yeah, we did. We like ran through it. I don't think we started until like midnight, and we were done around like 2:30. So like with the setup times, setting up at 11, breakdown, and we were out of there by 3. So they let us use the facility. Joe came in. We did like an overnight shoot, and we talked about like, okay, Labyrinth, like that's the name of the song. This place is kind of like a labyrinth, like a crazy like maze. So that was like the theme that we wanted to have, which is also a theme that ties into like the EP in general and like the concept.
Nice.
So it worked. It kind of just fell into place perfectly. Like we didn't have to go there and set anything up. Like the entire building was already set up and propped up because they use it regularly.
Yeah.
And then Joe came in, had his camera, had his lights, like adjusted and did the lighting, like filtering based on like how the room looked and like the atmosphere that we were in. And we just moved to like a few different rooms and shot like different scenes. And
that's awesome.
Pieced it together.
How many takes did he do with each one of you guys?
I want to say at least like, Matt had like 3 solo drum takes. I had about 3. Zach he was in it mostly because he was the one we wanted him kind of traveling through the labyrinth. So he had a lot of shots traveling through, but just like the individual ones, was probably like 2 to 3 like of those. And then we did like 2 like full band shots with that. And then Scott was like the murderer in the video. You couldn't tell. So funny enough, so Scott back was jacked up at the time, and he still wanted to do the music video. So he brought Santana from Them's Fighting Words over. So you look, the dude on bass is actually Santana. It's
no shit.
Yeah. All right, I'm glad. That's so funny you didn't even pick up on that.
No, I didn't put that together at all.
Yeah, spoiler alert, that's Santana, not Scott on bass for that video.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but it worked out perfect. We were just like, okay, long hair, like nobody's really gonna like, he played
just
the same
the one
bass that Scott uses. So
that's
and we
awesome.
had Scott just kind of stalk him around the place and then end up murking him at the end, and not even murking him, but just took him as a hostage. But don't want to spoil that because that also the ending of the video you'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if anybody would pick up to it, but the videos are connected. So when the next one comes out next week, you'll see the connection.
Oh, so there's Okay, there's the
We
concepts
like
coming.
to dive in deep with our shit.
Dude, you got to build the lore, right? Like,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
build out the story, keep people interested, and it's just like, oh, like once you start putting those things together, it's
Yeah.
like watching any movie, right? Or
Yeah.
a show. It's just like,
Yeah, and even
Starts from here
lyrically,
and
there's
there.
there's stuff in songs that like tie into each other. So and like some of it was like we did it intentional, some of it just happened naturally. So
I love that.
yeah.
Once again, let us know. First off, before we even talk about the show again, social medias. Where can people find you? Where can people listen to you? What's the word?
Everywhere. Facebook, Instagram. We do have a TikTok now for the time being until it gets shut down. We might be
Spotify,
Apple Music. Yeah. Our
Tidal, all those, right?
Yeah, our link tree is pretty much on all of our sites, so you can get access to anything. We're on YouTube.
And then what are your personal IGs too, so they can follow you?
Yeah. What's yours? I know my BG Music, so BGMUSIX. That's like my music
think
page.
mine's just first and last name, right? I think.
I thought it was like
I'm
Zach,
so bad at like social, especially Instagram, but like let me
Zach
see, 'cause-
09. Hold on.
oh yeah, might be Zach
029.
So ZAKK029.
There we go.
There you go.
And then when is the show one more time, and where can people get tickets?
Yes, the show is our EP release shows January 24th, so it's less than 2 weeks. It's on a Friday, Rock House in West Dundee. You can get tickets on our link tree. Pretty much, if you go to one of our social media sites and you click on the link to our link tree, there's like a tab where you can buy tickets for that. Usually any shows that we have where there's ticket sales, we'll post that on our link tree. Or in a post, we might have like the individual ticket link. There is a Facebook event page, I'm pretty sure, under Dream Alazia CD release show or EP release show.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find us all through that. Our brand new EP drops next Friday, the 17th.
And what's the title?
Hostage.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right, looking forward to jamming that one out. I'm very excited for what's coming for you guys. And like listening.
We
to
think
the
you
EP.
really like that one. Yeah, like I said, we hope everybody listens to the whole EP, but if you want to just only listen to one song, because that's all you're gonna listen to, listen to Hostage.
Listen to the whole EP.
Listen
Don't
to the
be
whole
lazy.
EP.
It's music, y'all.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for doing this and
Thank you
coming
for
in.
having us.
Appreciate you, Phil. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Interaction completed. Terminating transmission.